Leliel shows up in Neon Genesis Evangelion as the 12th angel. At first, it looks like a huge floating black and white striped ball just hovering over Tokyo 3, but that ball isn't the angel's real body. It's actually just a fake projection. Leliel's actual body is the shadow on the ground underneath the sphere. That shadow is massive, 680 meters wide, but it's ridiculously thin, only 3 nanometers thick. That's basically invisible to the human eye. It exists in a pocket dimension, something that only makes sense through really advanced science and math. That basically means anything that touches its shadow gets sucked in, buildings, people, even EVA units. When Leliel first appears, all 3 EVA units are sent out to fight it. Shinji, piloting Unit 1, goes in thinking the floating sphere is the target. He shoots at it, but instantly gets pulled down into the shadow. That's when all communication with him goes dead. Asuka nearly gets sucked in too, but escapes by jumping onto a building. Rei tries using a sniper rifle to hit the sphere, but just ends up wrecking the city instead. With Shinji trapped inside, Nerve comes up with a risky plan. Use the remaining EVA units to neutralize Leliel's AT field, and then dump almost 1,002 bombs inside. The higher-ups are even willing to go through with the plan even if it kills Shinji. But just when it seems like it's too late, Unit 1 randomly powers back up, even though it has no battery left, goes into berserker mode, and tears its way out of Leliel's body in a pretty violent scene. The angel dies, and Shinji survives. What makes Leliel even creepier is what happens to Shinji inside the angel. While he's trapped, he basically has a full-blown mental breakdown. He talks to himself, relives childhood trauma, and it turns out the angel might have been trying to communicate with him the entire time. One of the creators, Kazuya Tsurumaki, said they didn't want the angel to talk like a cheesy alien, so instead they had Shinji talk to a younger version of himself, but that version was actually Leliel. Walpurgisnacht. Walpurgisnacht is the main witch antagonist of the Puella Magi Madoka Magica, and is considered the strongest witch besides what Madoka could become. Her first appearance is a blurry scene in Madoka's dream, but by the end of the series, her power and role are completely clear. She's this massive doll-like being with white skin, but she doesn't even have legs. Instead, there's a huge spinning cog attached to her body connected by a red pillar. Visually, she's bizarre and almost clown-like, which ties into her whole circus theme. She's known as the stage-constructing witch, and her whole deal is about helplessness. Her concept is based on a fool who just keeps spinning in circles, never getting anywhere. It's said she moves around the world, turning everything into a twisted drama. When she flips upside down, which she does as part of her attack, she basically wrecks everything in her path with this giant whirlwind-style force. She also brings a ton of minions, known as familiars, who act like clowns. These creatures are said to be drawn to her massive magic power. And no one really knows if Walpurgisnacht started as one person or if she's a mix of many spirits mashed into one entity. In the main anime timeline, she's talked about a lot before she even shows up. Homura tries over and over to stop her in different timelines, and no matter what she does, whether it's with help or alone, she fails. When Walpurgisnacht actually arrives in episode 11, Homura throws everything at her, from bombs to heavy weapons, but it's totally useless. Walpurgisnacht doesn't even get scratched. Eventually, in episode 12, Madoka makes the ultimate wish and gains the power to erase all witches before they're born, including Walpurgisnacht. That wish rewrites the universe, so Madoka never exists as a regular human again. Sahaquiel from Neon Genesis Evangelion literally falls from space like a bomb. That's its whole attack. It drops itself onto Earth. That alone makes it stand out from other angels in the series. What makes it really different from the others is that it comes from space, not Earth, and it starts dropping chunks of its body before trying to slam into Tokyo 3 with its full weight. Each drop gets more accurate, like it's adjusting its aim as it goes. If it actually landed fully, it would have wiped out the city and basically turned it into an underwater crater. Sahaquiel looks like a floating monster eye with arms. Its body is stretched out. It also has a super strong AT field. That shield was so powerful, it blocked attacks from multiple N2 bombs. On top of that, it could mess with communications, jamming satellites so Nerve couldn't get in touch with its top commanders. When the battle goes down, Sahaquiel tries to go full kamikaze by dropping its entire body straight onto Nerve HQ. But the pilots step up in a big way. All 3 EVA units team up for this one. Unit 1 literally catches Sahaquiel mid-fall. Then Unit 0 takes out its AT field, which is a huge deal since that's one of the angel's main defenses. Finally, Unit 2 finishes it off by stabbing the core, which is the pupil in the middle eye, with a progressive knife. The Menos Grande. The Menos Grande from Bleach is made up of 2 separate creatures stacked on top of each other. It shows up during the Arrancar arc and wastes no time going after Uryu Ishida. What's crazy is how it enters the human world. It rips open the sky with an ability called Kumon, basically creating a portal from Hueco Mundo. Before it even fully steps through, it's already attacking, launching its super long tongue at Uryu like a spear. It misses, but the impact is strong enough to destroy the pavement. Despite its massive size, it moves quickly enough to chase Uryu down and flank him when split apart. It also has high-speed regeneration. Uryu blows off its arm using Heizen, and it just grows it right back in seconds. Its main attack, called Predation, involves stabbing someone with its tongue and dragging them into its mouth to eat them. It tried this on Uryu too, but just as it was about to land the hit, Uryu's dad, Ryukin, shows up out of nowhere and saves the day by shooting the tongue off. Then he completely destroys the top half's head with another spirit arrow. When the bottom half tries to sneak in a cheap shot, Ryukin blasts that one too, ending the fight. Source of all living matter. The source of all living matter from Attack on Titan is one of the mysterious things in anime. People have called it all sorts of names: Shining Centipede, God, Devil of all Earth, and even the true nature of the power of the Titans. That alone tells you how confusing and strange it is. It's this ancient, creepy, bug-like creature that basically gave Ymir Fritz the power to become the first Titan almost 2,000 years ago. The thing looks like a glowing centipede-style worm, except it has no face, no eyes, and its limbs just blend into its body with no joints. It first shows up when Ymir is running away from her captors and ends up under a huge tree. The centipede thing reaches out and connects with her, giving her Titan powers and somehow linking her descendants through time and space using something called Pes. Later in the story, the centipede attaches to Eren Yeager after he's been decapitated, literally saving him by reconnecting his head and body. That's how he gets access to the founding Titan's power. The creature keeps showing up after Eren is hurt or killed, trying to keep him alive or finish some goal. When Eren gets blown up during the final battle, the centipede crawls out of his body again and releases this crazy gas that turns every Eldian nearby into a Titan, kind of like what Zeke's spinal fluid did earlier in the show. And when Reiner tries to stop it, it doesn't just sit there, it fights back hard. In the end, when Eren dies for real, the centipede disappears, and with it, so does the Titan power forever. By the way, the centipede thing kind of looks like a real-life prehistoric creature called hallucigenia, which scientists think lived in the ocean millions of years ago. The show even hints at this in a scene with Zeke explaining life's origins. And in the final chapter, the tree above Eren's grave ends up looking just like the one where Ymir first met the anomaly, almost like the whole cycle could start all over again. Chronophage. The Chronophage from Eden Zero, it's this massive black floating space monster that looks like a snake made of shadows and energy, and it's known for literally eating time. This thing rewinds time on entire planets by devouring their timelines. It's not just a monster, it used to be Rebecca Bluegarden, one of the main characters. After a huge explosion involving antimatter bombs, Rebecca and Shiki were thrown 20,000 years into the future. Shiki survived and eventually became Ziggy, but everyone thought Rebecca died. Her body was found by robots who kept it preserved, even hooking it up with wires and scanning the strange energy it still gave off. But what no one knew was that Rebecca was still alive on the inside. Her body couldn't move, but her mind was trapped, awake and screaming for help for 20,000 years. That kind of isolation twisted her. She forgot who she was, what she cared about, and turned into something else entirely. The Chronophage. Once she transformed, she became obsessed with getting her time back. She believed that by eating time from planets, she'd recover her memories and maybe even reunite with Shiki. So she drifted through space, devouring entire worlds without even realizing the destruction she was causing. Whole civilizations were erased as planets were rewound hundreds or even thousands of years. On the planet Gios, she consumed 1,200 years of time, basically wiping the slate clean. Less than 10% of the population made it out alive, and sometimes the planets she eats actually benefit in a twisted way. Like Gios was a crime-filled mess, but after she erased its timeline, it turned back into a natural paradise. Because of her power, she accidentally created time loops and duplicates across the universe. Some worlds experienced events over and over because of her time rewinds. She even devoured parts of the Mother's Time, the source of ether in the universe, which is why it hasn't run out yet. So, in a messed up way, she might be the reason the universe still works. Medium. Medium from Magi, the Kingdom of Magic, is a massive body made entirely out of black rook and magoi, basically the life energy in the Magi universe. It doesn't talk, it doesn't reason, it just exists to wipe out anything that carries white rook, which is like the good kind of energy. It already destroyed a whole world before, and now it's back to do it again. The medium shows up during the Magnustat arc, and it's a total game changer. It absorbs magoi from everything: people, fire, water, even animals, turning all of it black and draining the life out of the world. It also makes and controls these creatures called Black Jinn, which are basically corrupted versions of superpowered beings. And it's not like the heroes can just run up and punch it. It creates this thing called a defensive wall that's way tougher than even a Magi's strongest barrier. It's several levels above what the most powerful magic users in the world can usually handle. At first, it's just this giant floating ball, but once it starts absorbing more and more power, it turns into this creepy tall doll that looks like a skeleton, with hands coming out of its head. At one point, its head literally becomes tens of thousands of hands. It uses those to suck out energy or to just grab and crush people. Even when it gets hit with powerful attacks, like volcanoes, dragons, tornadoes, and massive explosions from all the strongest characters, it keeps standing. The only thing that even puts a dent in it is when everyone teams up. Aladdin, Alibaba, Kuan, Kome, Hakue, Kugyoku, Sinbad, Mu, and a ton of others all hit it with their strongest moves at once. Even then, it regenerates. It gets even bigger by absorbing energy from the sea and just keeps going. At one point, the heroes figure out that the medium actually has a human soul trapped inside, Matal Mogamet, and he's starting to hesitate. That tiny bit of hesitation is what lets Aladdin get through and finally reach the core of the medium. With that, the entire thing starts falling apart from the inside. But before that moment, the medium is practically unstoppable.